everyone and welcome back to my channel. So somebody is now 4 months old. Well, he is tomorrow anyway, but we've got lots to update on, including how he's been doing, his Laryngomalacia update, and how I'm doing postpartum. So if you would like to find out more, then keep watching. Keep watching. Keep watching. Yeah. So I've got little Stan comfortable on my knee and I'm hoping that he'll be quite happy to sit with me while we make this video. Hey, will you be happy? Because he's just woken up from a nap and he's not to your feet for a while yet. But gosh, 4 months. It's 4 months since I had you. How is that possible? You are such a big boy now, aren't you? He's changed so much, and I'm going to start on all the basic stuff first, like how he's doing, what he's into, that kind of thing. So the normal stuff, what is he doing? He's sleeping through, and he has been for quite a while now, as you know, because we're very blessed. He's our third baby and we were very nervous about the lack of sleep and what it was going to do to us, particularly because the other two didn't sleep very well at all. Bill didn't sleep through until he was 1 year old, so that was hard. But Stan is a great sleeper. It's not always set in stone, but he sometimes will go to bed quite early on in the night, so when the older two do, so he might be like half asleep by like 7:30 and then be fully in the land of Nod by 8 after he's had his evening bottle, and that works really well for us. But he usually just stays downstairs with us, don't you? He sits with us, he cuddles with us, he goes in his sleepy head and just chills with us, and we're happy with that because he is still our third and final baby, and we want to sort of stretch out these tiny days for as much as we can, and we just can't let him come upstairs and sleep yet on his own. It's just, oh, it's too much. Excuse the background noise, by the way, because it's really humid and hot today and I have to have the windows open or we will melt. But yeah, he does sleep through, and he will wake, sometimes he will wake like and fuss around 5:30, and I think it's just because the light is coming into the room a bit more then, but he settles back to sleep and will normally wake up then around 7, so we're very lucky because that means we can all start the day at a very similar time. And then in terms of his feeds, he has around 7 to 8 ounce bottles a day. Obviously that can vary. Sometimes you can have like 3 8-ounce bottles for the first part of the day, and then have like a couple snacky like 5-ounce ones, and then like a 7-ounce one before bed. You never know, and babies are quite flexible, so we're still trying to follow his lead because we do get more successful feeds that way. He is, however, on Aptamil at the moment, and obviously I know the powdered form of Aptamil has changed, but we noticed when we came back from holiday really that Stan was getting really constipated, and had been for a while on the powdered stuff. So we tried him with some of the ready-made bottles before we moved to a different formula, and he was like a different baby. That's when we felt like he started gaining weight lots, and that's when he started pooing every day rather than every 2, 3, even 4 days, and he's been so much happier as a result. Now it is expensive and it is painful shelling out for these like big bottles of ready-made stuff, so I don't know if anyone has any advice on like other formulas that maybe are a little bit gentler on the tummy that we can use as a powdered form, but for now we're just we're going with that, and we are fortunate enough that we can stretch to afford those big expensive bottles of milk for you. He's like the Chateauneuf de Pape of the baby world. Like, he just wants the good stuff, don't you? You just want champagne, don't you? It's really annoying, but we try and keep him happy while we can. Obviously, like, one of the things that will be coming up in the next 2 months, like when he hits 6 months, is weaning, and he is already showing a massive interest and curiosity in food. Not necessarily because I think he's hungry and he wants to eat it, but he's just so curious and he loves to watch, and he will often try and reach out and take whatever you're eating from you or drinking. You have gone for a glass of Prosecco or 2 in your time, haven't you? and you were very interested in your dad's beer at the weekend. But that's just, it's such a funny stage. When they hit 4 months, I feel like they transform, and it is that leap, like the leap that he's been going through for the last couple of weeks. He's changed so much, like he's so aware of his surroundings now. You can clearly see that he can see pretty much as far as we can, which fits with like babies' developmental stages at this age. They should be able to see around the same sort of distance as you can now, which is really fun, because when we're in the garden he can watch his siblings play while he sits in the shade. He's really into his toys, so if you're curious about 2 things that we've absolutely loved, then A, make sure you subscribe because there's a review coming for one of them very soon, but B, I'll also leave a link to his bouncer down below because he blinking loves that thing, and you go in it every day, don't you? Yes you do, yes you do. He loves to play. His favourite thing to cuddle with above all else though is a muslin. You love a muslin, don't you? He likes to snuggle it and kiss it and chew on it and bring it up over his face and scare us half to death. He also loved these things called yummy rings, which we were sent, I'll say that now, but oh my goodness, he is non-stop playing with them all the time, and we take them everywhere with us, and they are definitely proving to be his favourite. I don't know what it is about them because they're like metal rings with little silicone beads on, but he's just obsessed, and he's always like gumming on them and like holding them, and he just seems to really enjoy them, don't you? He is also a big fan of teddy bears, so this is his favourite that a friend of ours, Amy, brought him. But he loves Mr. Fox, and you regularly have a cuddle with Mr. Fox in the morning, don't you? There we go. I don't know if you can see, but he's just reached for him because you love him, don't you? And he's so sociable, he's so smiley. He's honestly the smiliest baby out of all 3. He smiles at everyone and anyone. He's so friendly, and he's so like talkative now as well. Like you just hear him go ah, 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 don't you? You're always talking to yourself and to us, and he's just such a dream. He really is so sweet and so lovely. He's getting a little bit clingier, I would say, and because he's awake more often, he does think that the rules are that you should be cuddling him and holding him quite a lot. But then he does have an awesome big brother who is 6 years old, who regularly gives you cuddles and watches telly with you in the morning, doesn't he? When I make your bottle and their breakfast, you have cuddles with William, don't you? You do, and you love your brother. He absolutely adores his big brother. He loves his big sister and finds her really funny. He's also a bit wary of her as well because she's only 2 and a little bit rough, isn't she? But she dotes on him, they both do. As you can see, his head control is really good now. He does loll around a little bit more, but he's at that stage where he doesn't really want to recline in your arms, so I'm always having to change position and put him here and put him there, and it's all systems go. But he's just doing so well. We had him weighed at the hospital yesterday actually, which I'll move on to that in a moment, but he was 6.45 kilos, which is what I remember them saying, so I will convert that into pounds, which is what I know better on the screen now. But he's on the 25th centile because he did drop massively from being born on like the 75th when he was born, because he was 9'6", so it was like quite hard to get him to feed, and that is obviously because of his Laryngomalacia. Now we finally had that properly assessed yesterday at Manchester Children's Hospital, and you do have it, and it was quite a horrible appointment because he had to have loads of checks done to his mouth and then a camera go down his nose, and I found that very hard because a lot of it was very similar to what Daisy had done, and it was quite traumatic for me because if you're new to my channel, I did get diagnosed with PTSD after having Daisy, with the trauma of it all and like what we went through, and I did find that hard, but I'm really pleased to say that he looks to be growing out of it. And Laryngomalacia is essentially a floppy larynx, and the issue with that is that it can cause issues with breathing and coordinating breathing, because instead of being like a firm tube for air to pass down, his can like collapse on itself a little bit sometimes. And now it explains why he never ever wanted to latch and he never wanted to breastfeed, because it's a lot more work for a baby, it is, and they do have to coordinate themselves a bit more. And yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and in a way I wish that I'd known that then, because if you remember from my earlier videos I was so upset. But babies do tend to grow out of laryngomalacia, and if they don't, they can have surgery to strengthen the larynx and do some alterations there, but thankfully this little champ doesn't seem to need it. And what I'm hopeful of now is that he is starting to show signs of growing out of it, is that I do feel like he's putting on a lot of weight recently. I do feel like he's going to climb in his weight bracket, and I feel like he might get back to the 50th soon. It's just a mum's hunch, but yeah, that's where we're up to at the moment, and I'm just feeling really like relieved that that's all out the way. So I'm going to get on to me now. Since I last saw you, things have been all crazy with me, to be honest, because I was on the mini pill, and I think I remember updating everyone about that. I'd just gone on it while I was waiting to have the coil fitted, and I have to say that is one of my biggest regrets, because it was really, really bad for me personally. I know that everybody's different, and that's the thing with contraception, you've got to take the risk. But I found that I had really low moods. I found that I found losing weight a little bit harder, to be honest, at times. And I was just down, I was anxious, I was quite paranoid sometimes, I wasn't myself. I was arguing with Mark a lot more, and a load of people actually came forward and said that's how they were on the pill, like that's what it did to them. So I came off it early, and I actually had the coil fitted last week, a week ago now. And while it was quite adventurous, a situation, if you want to know more about that, I will leave a link to my Instagram below, and you can go on the coil stories that I've saved. I'll fill you in on there instead. But it's working really well for me so far, and I feel like I'm quite hopeful that this was the right decision for me, and I really, really hope that is the case, because it just seems like a bit more foolproof. I don't have to worry about missing pills or anything. I don't have to worry about condoms breaking so much, and you know, it's just it's non-hormone, and it's better, I feel, for me. But we will see how that goes. Obviously I will update on that every time, because I know a lot of people are curious about contraception after having babies and what I'm doing and what the options are, so I will do a proper video on that when I've adjusted to it a bit more, I think. But yeah, I'm feeling really good. I'm 10.5 pounds down now from when I first started Slimming World, which was when Stanley was 6 weeks old. So I'm really pleased about that, actually. And I'm in like some 12 clothes now, but mainly 14 still. And I'm alright with that. It's baby steps, it is. So only time will tell. Like, it's only been 4 months. I'm really hopeful that maybe by the 6-month mark I might even be at target. I might even like have lost a bit more, or I might just feel a bit more comfortable. It has been hard trying to lose weight so soon, but I feel like, honestly, this job makes me feel like I have to look nicer sometimes, and I feel like I was just so focused on how I used to feel the last time I wasn't pregnant that I really wanted to get back to that. So I'm trying, and things are going in the right direction at the end of the day, and like I'm feeling much better about myself now. The pills out my system. I am finding that my normal spots and breakouts that I would normally get at hormonal times of the month are starting to return. So previously I would get spots up here, whereas when I was pregnant I would get them in random places like here. So I think that my body is starting to get back to normal now in terms of like hormone regulation, that time of the month, that sort of thing, which while spots up here aren't great, at least I know that it's something that my body recognises, and I'm getting more back to me. But yeah, we're doing really, really well. So I will give you a quick show of what my body looks like at the moment. Can't show my tummy because I'm in a dress, but then I will let you go until next month. So this is what I look like at the moment. Stan is just here playing with Mr. Fox, by the way. But yeah, I'm feeling like my waist has come back in a lot more now, and I'm feeling a lot less self-conscious. My stomach has gone down a lot, really, and for anyone wondering, I do still have the pouchy bit here, and I'm working on it, but I'm not stressing about it. But yeah, this is me at 4 months postpartum. Where has the time gone? So thank you so much for watching this update. If you got this far, if you have any questions, please leave them down below and I will be sure to answer them. I love having a chat with everybody and seeing where all of your babies are up to, so by all means leave any questions below and video requests below, and I will get on top of them. So if it's like baby routine, I'd quite like to do an updated one for Stanley, if plenty of you are interested. So yeah, just let me know. But yeah, take care, have a lovely day whatever you're up to. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new, and I will see you next time. Bye bye. Bye. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Bye.